At the same time, some senators, like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, are facing an outright declaration of war from former White House strategist Steve Bannon. Listen to what he said at the Values Voters Summit, a gathering of conservative voters here in Washington just a few hours ago.
Now, Mitch, I don't know if you're watching today. I don't know if you're watching Value Voters, or you maybe have your staff. But if I can take a little riff on Plutarch and Shakespeare, up on Capitol Hill, because I've been getting calls, it's like before the Ides of March, right? The only question is, and this is just an analogy or metaphor, whatever you want to call it, they're just looking to find out who's going to be Brutus to your Julius Caesar.
Ooh, so Bannon is promising a quote-unquote season of war at the same time that the Republican establishment is trying to tackle these major issues, from health care, immigration, and now tax reform and the Iran nuclear deal. Julie, a lot to deal with.
A lot on the plate. All right, Kristen Fisher, thank you. White House National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster sits down for an exclusive interview on Fox News Sunday. McMaster will join guest anchor James Rosen to discuss the president's strategy for Iran and North Korea. He's also going to have an update on the travel ban update and that debate. So you can catch that interview tomorrow right here on the Fox News channel. Check your local listings for time. 3 more deaths confirmed as officials survey the damages left behind by the Northern California wildfires. Officials announcing at least 38 people have died in the flames, and the fires have been tearing through wine country for nearly a week, and they are not over, forcing thousands of people to evacuate from their homes so far. Fire crews saying searching for missing people has taken quite a toll on rescue crews.
We still have over 300 missing people, so we want to get to the targeted searches of known missing persons and known addresses. We're not going to give ourselves a time limit, but we're going to find every missing person that gets reported.
Will Carr reports from Santa Rosa, California. Will, let's start with the conditions. How are they doing now?
Well, good evening, Julie. The winds have stayed relatively calm. That's good news for the firefighters on the front lines tonight. But we want to show you the extent of the devastation so far. You can see a picture of what this street corner looked like before these fires. But when you walk up here, I want to show you what they look like now. It looks like a bomb went off throughout this community. A little bit earlier today, Governor Jerry Brown took a tour of this area. He says help is on the way. Take a listen.
This is truly one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tragedy that California's ever faced. All the resources, the people, the police, the fire, elected officials, neighbors, volunteers, it's a real example of how America pulls together.
While the fight continues on the front lines, we're continuing to hear stories of heroism, including the first responders who raced through these streets trying to save lives. Take a listen to one deputy as he was going door to door.
Sheriff's office! Sheriff's office! Where you at?
Help, right here! Come on! Screw your shoe! Come on! She's disabled.
All right, let me get her feet. 49 Sanford, don't pass. Do not pass. Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, mandatory evacuation order. Leave your homes. Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, mandatory evacuation order. Leave your homes.
That video showing just how intense the moments were when that fire raced through this community, and many people only had seconds to try to survive. Julie.
Is insurance going to cover all of the catastrophic damage these people have suffered?
That's a bit of a silver lining. We've learned about 90% of the residents who had their homes destroyed will be covered by insurance. But when you come out and you talk to the people who managed to come back in, they talk about the possessions that they lost that won't be covered by insurance, the baby albums, so many personal possessions that cannot be covered by any monetary value. And at the same time, Julie, authorities are very concerned out here about looters. Hard to believe when you look at what's left out here, but we've seen authorities tell us that some people have come up, they've tried to get into gun safes, they've been arrested, a handful of arrests for looting, and authorities say they have zero tolerance for anybody trying to take advantage of this situation. Julie.
You know, with regard to insurance companies, I have to ask you something extremely disturbing I heard about today, that somebody who I know personally had been in contact with a family, unfortunately, a 90-year-old and her caretaker, both dead. And the family can't actually claim them as deaths because their bodies were so badly damaged and undiscoverable, basically, that they have been deemed missing. And a lot of families are having to deal with this horrible tragedy in reality. What is being done or said for these families who are in this sort of crisis?
Well, it is a painstaking process for everybody involved. As we speak, cadaver dogs are going property by property. I mean, you can see how hot this fire was. Authorities tell us that many of the remains were simply ash and bones. So trying to identify these people is going to take a while. They have to use dental records, or in some cases actually use medical devices that people have to identify them. Once they're ID'd, then they start going through that process that you're describing, Julie, but they still have several hundred people who are still missing. They don't know what happened to them necessarily. So they're still trying to figure out exactly what the final death toll will come out to. Julie.
Just simply tragic. Will Carr, thank you.